Hi, this is Jolly Rancher and Kneecaps. Today we're going to go over the gear that I was using on my Appalachian Trail through hike during the summer 2009. I hope you enjoyed watching the first segment about bags, tents, sleeping bags, and sleeping pads. This next segment is going to be about clothing, what you need to wear, what you need to have in your bag for an Appalachian Trail through hike. The most important piece of equipment obviously is going to be boots. What I have here are the two different styles of boots that I use while hiking the trail. The first pair here is what I started out with. These are the Merrell Chameleon Wrap Gore-Tex XCR boots. Things you need to know about these are it's a Gore-Tex boot, and it is a boot in terms of the shank on the sole. You can see it doesn't have very much flex to it, very much give. So it does feel more like a boot than a shoe, even though it is low top. And the other point is it is a low top shoe. You can also get these in a mid top, and obviously there are high top boots you can get. I chose to go with this because I didn't feel that I needed the ankle support. I do know some people feel they have weak ankles and tend to twist their ankles more often. I don't usually twist my ankle, so I felt comfortable enough to go with a low top boot. And the other thing about these is they are fairly heavy. The pair is 41 ounces, so it's about 20 ounces a shoe, which is over a pound. 1 pound 4 ounces per shoe, which is fairly heavy. These shoes lasted very well though. My first pair went from Springer Mountain to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, which is over 1,000 miles on the trail. My second pair went from Harper's Ferry to the New Jersey-Pennsylvania border, which is about 400 miles. Obviously, the second pair didn't last as long, but that is because in Pennsylvania there is so many more rocks that you have to deal with, and you will go through your sole much quicker. Okay? Let's see here. What else should I say about this? The one thing I would say about these boots is low top shoes and Gore-Tex don't really go hand in hand. If you're going to get a Gore-Tex boot, go with a higher top. If you're going to go with a low top boot, do not get Gore-Tex. It sounds good when you're purchasing the boot, but it really doesn't make sense practically, because if you wear a low top boot, the water is going to come in over the top here and get inside. And with a Gore-Tex boot, it doesn't dry as quickly as a regular trail runner boot. So if that's a decision you want to make on your own, whether you want to go with a Gore-Tex or not. I was happy that I started out with a Gore-Tex boot because in February and March it was pretty cold and wet on the trail, so my feet did stay more dry than they would if I didn't have Gore-Tex. But when you're wading through 3 inches of water, your feet are always going to get wet no matter what you're wearing. So that is actually why I switched from a boot to a trail runner shoe. These are really popular on the trail now. This is a Montrail Streak. This pair of shoes weighs 22 ounces, whereas the Merrells weighed 41 ounces for the pair. So this is 11 ounces a shoe. So that is a significant weight savings when you look at comparing the two shoes. And the rule of thumb is if you save 1 pound on your feet, that's the equivalent of saving 5 pounds on your back. So you wouldn't really think that having a shoe that's a couple ounces lighter than another shoe would make a big difference, but it really does when you're using those shoes for 10 to 12 hours a day, every single day for 5 months. Okay? So some things you should know about this shoe is it is more like a shoe. It has a little more flex to it. But there are different versions of Montrail shoes that you can get with a little stiffer sole depending on what you want to get. It is not Gore-Tex. It actually is very thin material, so if you drop a little bit of water from your water bottle on your shoe, your foot is going to get wet. Water flows in and out of these very quickly, which does take a little bit of getting used to. Having hiked with Gore-Tex boots for most of my life, putting these on for the first time and walking through the trail when there's standing water all over the place, it was quite an adjustment to get used to. but after a while I did get used to it, and I felt comfortable walking in these. And you just kind of deal with wet feet most of the time. As long as you're wearing good socks and you're prepared for blisters, then I think you can do fine with these. And the weight savings is significant. You feel much lighter on your feet when you have a trail runner shoe as to when you have a boot on your foot. Okay, let me make sure I'm just covering everything here. Okay, so I wore 2 pairs of these on my hike. The first one got me from the New Jersey-Pennsylvania border all the way up through Maine to the 100-mile wilderness, where they were just about falling apart. These are my 4th pair of shoes. I wore these for the last 100 miles of the trail, and obviously they still have quite a bit of life on them. The sole's looking in good condition, and I'm still wearing these today. Okay. The one other thing that I would recommend is using Superfeet insoles. These are much better than whatever insoles come with any shoe or boot that you're going to buy. Most insoles that you get with a shoe are just very thin pieces of foam that wear out quickly. What these are is they have a plastic heel cup here with more foam and sturdier foam above it. And what this does is it really supports the arch of your foot, which is very important when you're hiking for 20 odd miles a day. I went through 3 pairs of these. These are $30 a pair. I forgot to mention that. And overall, I think they really helped my foot as I was hiking. I didn't have to deal with any blister problems at all. I didn't have any foot problems at all, which is very unusual. I think that I was so lucky because I, first of all, wore boots that really fit me well and were very comfortable, but second of all, I wore these Superfeet insoles, and I would highly, highly recommend these. They fit into every single shoe you can find, and you can always trim them at the front edge here, depending on if they need to be trimmed down a bit to fit in your shoe. Okay? So, also, I thought these were great in the summer because they do dry much faster than the Gore-Tex boots. I don't think I would have been as comfortable if I had left Springer Mountain in Georgia in February with these. My feet would have been cold, but after about April or so, these are the perfect fit for the AT. Okay? So that's a quick lesson about boots and what you need to wear. Socks, I chose to wear just your run-of-the-mill Smartwool medium high socks. I started out wearing liner socks, but I found after a while that I didn't need them. But there are many different sock brands out there. You can actually save some weight if you go with a low-top sock, especially if you're wearing a low-top shoe. Some good brands are Smartwool, Darn Tough. There's a couple other good ones out there, but those are the ones that come to mind as the most popular on the trail and the most highly regarded.